there she is. 18870 B.
Last week, Grooch had hoped that Jackson Kohler would return, and I shot him down. And lo, I was right. Just like how I'm right that women shouldn't be allowed to practice law, you're listening to Can't Read, Can't Write. Gonna get me fired. Oh, gotta stop it. Hate the new UI. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Can't Read, Can't Write, the podcast that proves Spartans can talk. I'm Mike Jones, joined as always by the guy who is still mourning the 2026 basketball team with Jackson Kohler, Kevin Greck, and not by the guy who is still recovering from last week's primary, Alex Plum.
I should have wrote it as still mourning last week's primary, Alex Plum.
That's all right, because I think he might have gotten more trouble than me.
With Ali, couldn't come back and face Ali, so he took this week off. Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Jonesy? How you doing, Bob? Feeling pretty good about our whole Jackson Kohler conversation from last week? You smug son of a gun.
Well, right, you're confusing smug and good. They are different feelings. But yes, we'll get into it. But could not have been more on the nose with my prediction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but how are you doing in the absence of smugness?
Oh, I've never had the opportunity to be smug about anything in my entire life, so I'm used to it. We're just piling on L's over here, and I'm fine with it. It was a lovely weekend here in the Great Lakes State. I don't know about on the coast with all of you elites, but got a little thunder.
Hot and humid.
Got a little thunderclappy today, but other than that, it was like a pretty temperate, nice weekend where we were able to get out and do some stuff. So
did you clap back?
Did not. I cry and wet myself when it rains. Thank you for bringing that up live and on the air with our massive audience.
Walter is better positioned for this than you.
That's correct. I actually got that from him. I got that behavior from the boy. So
okay. Well, we of course want to thank everyone for listening and ask this small favor to please share the pod with Spartans in your life. And the bigger favor is if you could rate. Somehow this doesn't feel like it's a bigger favor. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_pod and on the Blue Sky at Spartan Pod.
The biggest favor of them all. Zane's already in the chat, dapping us up. Good to see you, bud. Good to see you.
Hey, you came here for the misogyny that Greg wrote into the script.
I don't control what you say. The best part, listeners, is it's not a Ron Burgundy situation. He told me before he hit live, I read what you wrote. I'm going to lean in.
Greg, what are we doing this week? Because I think I'm walking past Dem Hall. I think I hear drums. I think I smell tailgate. I think football's in the air.
You smell tailgate? Are you having a stroke? Is everything okay?
I'm great.
How tingly are the arms right now? No, if you're not aware, dear listener, we are 4 weeks out by my math.
Pods.
Four pods. 4 Can't Read, Can't Writes away. So we're going to do an offensive episode, a defensive episode, a special teams episode, and then it's preview week. That is the cadence that we're on. So this is the first of those. We're going to go behind the green wall where football always leads and talk about your 2026 MSU football offense because there's a lot of new faces.
They're all new faces.
It's not all. Courtney Hawkins is still there. Alessio Milivojevic is still there. So it's not 100% new faces, but a lot to talk about and a lot that you should commit to memory. we have decided, we had a little podcast meeting and we decided we're going to go ahead and traffic and rumor and innuendo. So we're going to talk about the potential of current Western Michigan University athletic director Dan Bartholomew becoming potentially MSU's next AD. So we're going to kind of give you some background on him. We're going to go off Grand River, talk about some NCAA Congress stuff, some things happening on the football travel rosters, and then, as always, your social media questions.
Let's dig in then. And how excited are you to preview the offense right now?
Well,
the good news is
it's fun because like I get to learn along with the audience. Like I know that we named all of these people off when they joined, but truly like how do you track these things? I don't know. So I'm learning along with them right now.
Well, I think the good thing is it feels better when they're presented as a whole instead of in the parts. And look, last year was bad, so this year could be better.
Sure, can't get much worse, especially on the offensive line.
Yep. So let's start in at quarterback. I think the most resolved position on the field.
Yeah.
Alessio Milivojevic, redshirt sophomore, 6'3", 223, has been named the start. I mean, it was obvious as obvious is, but named starter by Fitzgerald ahead of the fall camp. Started the last 4 games of 2025. I believe we called for Milivojevic to be playing more much earlier in the season.
And that was another thing that you could be smug about.
My schmuggishness is fantastic. Went 111 for 173 with a 60. That's a 64.2% completion percentage. 1,267 yards, 10 TDs, 3 interceptions. The 4 TD, 292-yard game versus Maryland at Ford Field was a highlight, and we were there for it, buddy.
We sure were.
Look, I think we saw a lot of. I'm going to call the shot now. We saw a lot of reasons to be enthused and excited about a first-year quarterback in Milivojevic.
Yeah.
How sustainable it is for him to continue to get pummeled in the face and stand back up.
The walloping that he was taking at times last year.
But you know what? I think the reason we all loved him was because he was taking the beating we were feeling emotionally, and like us, just got back up again and said, maybe this week will be different.
It was a Chumbawamba situation. He was having a lager drink. He was having a whiskey drink. And he was getting knocked back down, but he was getting up again.
Yes.
And you were never going to keep unless you're down. Unlike our guy in the boot, who's going to be back in Spartan Stadium in purple later this year.
Yeah.
I've said this before, but I think there is a narrative when you see the like best quarterbacks in the Big Ten lists.
Sure.
And Alessio is always in the bottom half of those. Some of that
bottom quarter oftentimes.
Yeah. Some of that is fair. Like we have not seen a ton of him and he's got a lot to prove. I think some of it is people were not paying attention, especially Correct. To the fact that everyone listening to this now and in our, watching live on YouTube knows Aiden Childs was benched. They let him walk around on the sidelines with a boot to save face, but he was benched. Alessio outplayed him. And that was him coming in, taking over starters reps. I have every expectation that we're going to see more from him this year. And he's going to be better at some of the things that were a bit of a problem last year, like accuracy and some arm strength issues. Did he hit, like how many deep balls did he hit? I can't.
You're asking for more research than I did.
I can't think of one is the thing. Like
I think his longest completion was a Rodney Bullard like out that went to the went to the yard, but like it was mostly yards after catch.
Pretty good.
Yak.
Pretty good. Zane's in the chat here. People watch him versus Iowa, top 10 defense last year, should be in the middle of the 18 or even possibly top 9. That's where I'm going with the Zane. I completely agree with you. I think you've got to remember that the Big Ten is now 18 teams. We have a hard enough time tracking MSU. No one can track all 18 teams, plus all of the transfer stuff that's happening. There is no reason to think that this guy can't be a top half of the Big Ten. We're not claiming like top quarter. We're not claiming top 1 or 2. There's no reason to think that in the college football landscape of today, Alessio Milivojevic doesn't have the potential to be in the top half of the Big Ten. I was impressed with things that we saw from him last year, including, I mean, the headline was always about his, ability to get back up and his ability to take punishment. I was impressed by some of the decision making that he made and some of the throws that he made as well, just like genuine quarterback stuff. And that was why we were thrilled to have him take over for Aiden Childs last year. So
his ability to distribute and diversify the folks who were, I mean, because
we discovered the tight ends in the last 4 games. Like they were there the whole time, but no one knew that until the final 4 games of the season.
And I do believe there was one game that was a bit of a Nick Marsh game where it was just Milivojevic hitting Nick Marsh. But even that is a testament to his ability. It was Marsh had a good matchup and he just hit it. And so, yeah, I we'll see on the arm strength. Not trying to like have people catch strays here, but at 64.2% completion percentage with a much worse offensive line, I think he's in the ballpark of what Brian Hoyer was. Like,
I mean, I stood in there in Orlando and watched Brian Hoyer throw 5 picks in his last game as a Spartan. So,
and I believe if my stat poll is correct here, maybe these stats are just the last 4 games and not his time in as a reserve. But one of those picks was the first throw he had of the entire season, where Childs went out hurt. Like,
that's right.
In fact, I believe
I forgot about that. Yes,
I believe Alessio Milivojevic started his career 0 for 2 picks. So, and then it just went up from there. But let's talk.
We probably want to talk running back. Can we talk about the line? I think it makes the most sense to go to the line now from here.
I'm happy to, but I do want to talk about backup quarterback, and it's worth talking about for a couple reasons. One is I get knocked down, but I get up again. Might not be true forever. And our backup quarterback is someone with a ton of experience who we indeed played. I believe actually we low-key hated when we played him because he kept getting targeting calls against us. But Cam Fancher out of FAU UCF is a 6-year grad transfer, 37 career games, 28 starts, 14-14 in that time. Was limited at UCF, but we saw him when he was at FAU. Is a wildly different kind of quarterback than Alessio Milivojevic. He's got 5,600 pass yards to his name and 27 TDs. But that's through the air. He's got another nearly 1,300 yards on the ground and another 9 TDs. It is entirely possible that we see Cam Fancher in specialized packages. He is absolutely a mobile quarterback that you could see being deployed in a specialty circumstance.
And to pick up targeting calls,
Yeah.
Can't beat him. Join him.
But by the by, like, I do think it's worth appreciating that we've had someone who's meaningfully taken snaps against high-level football, maybe not winning, but a 6th year. This is look, I don't want Cam Fancher to be my quarterback, to be clear. I'm thrilled with Alessio, but you could do a lot worse.
Yeah. We also, of course, have Cade Kaufman who enrolled early, who's our 4-star rivals top, whatever, freshman quarterback. We also have in the chat, Zane is picking up for us where we are falling down. Calls out that Alessio did have a 43-yard in the air completion against Iowa. So
to Christian McCray. Yep.
Big play McCray. No longer for us though. Big play McCray.
Yeah.
So,
but
I mean,
yeah. You want to hop to the line from here, though?
Yes,
like I
do.
It felt worth mentioning that the backup quarterback is in an okay place.
Yeah, and the line is also in an okay place. I mean, it's in.
I think the line's interesting.
Not the place that it was last year. Entirely different than it was last year. I mean, they brought in beef on the line, right? That's the narrative on this.
Yeah, do you want me to run through it real quick? Who we've got?
Run through.
All right, we've got. These are all projected, but Ben Morawski, the UConn transfer, redshirt senior, 6'7", 340 with a reported size 19 shoe for those keeping track. He was had 12 starts at left tackle for UConn in the last year. He was Pro Football Focus's number 27 FBS tackle, Outland Trophy watch list. And then likely backing him up is Rustin Young, who's a redshirt sophomore, and started 4 games at left tackle in 2025, which I have to note, not a meaningful drop-off in performance. So, you would take the young guy who's growing, that like Rustin's taken some strays there, but also like at least he's a developmental project. At left guard, we have Nick Sharp, graduate transfer, 6th year, 6'2", 351 from Wake Forest in South Carolina. Played under Tabaka, or Nick Tabaka, our offensive line coach at Wake. 5 starts at left guard for South Carolina in 2025. And he was in the Pro Football Focus SEC group of 15. I don't know that there's a clear number 2 here, but there's, I think, bodies that could cycle here. We also have at center Trent Fraley. You'll recall North Dakota State transfer, son of the Lions offensive line coach. Redshirt senior, 6'1", 306, Remington Award winner for the nation's best FCS center in 2025.
FCS center.
FCS. Yep. Sorry. Started all 13 games and was part of North Dakota State University's 2024 FCS title team. I think there's no clear 2 here either, but I believe Rakeem Johnson, who we'll get to in a minute, does take snaps at center as well. But I think dudes have cycled here. We have Luka Vincic, who was a high spot on this line last year until he got hurt, but as a redshirt senior, came over from Oregon State, 6'5", 306, center guard experience, missed most of last year after playing meaningful snaps and or starting at Oregon State through 22 through 24. Rakeem Johnson is definitely a backup here with 4 starts in the past year.
Mm-hmm. And
then at right tackle, we have Connor Moore, who again was a standout last year.
FCS standout.
No. Last year was with us and played well.
Oh, that's right. He was with us already, but he came from Montana State, I want to say, before that.
And he played left tackle last year and is switching over to the right-hand side, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Either way, he's going to be our right tackle, 6'6", 311, 12 starts last year, 9 at right. Oh, yeah, 9 at right tackle, 3 at left tackle, 40 consecutive career starts. And behind him is likely Robert Wright Jr., which is a redshirt junior out of Georgia Southern, 6'5", 294. We haven't even gotten to like Andrew Dennis and who was a 4-star recruit.
Right.
There's some. This is a room I'm interested in for the first time in a while.
It can't be worse than last year. I mean, I know we just listed off names, and if you're like popping back and forward on your like 15 seconds back, 15 seconds forward, trying to just soak it all up. It can't be worse than last year. And there are guys,
and that's
this is the big debate that we have, and we're going to learn what is true about transfer football. These are guys that won at a high level, some of them at a lower level. What is going to happen when they come to the Big Ten?
In fairness, I don't know that you could say that UConn is a measurably worse program than Michigan State has been over the last few years.
Please just stop with points that you make, whether that's about Jackson Kohler, whether that's about women in law. Like, please just stop with things that you say. Okay. I can't live in a world where you're like, we're in a peer group with UConn. Okay. It cannot be true. I won't allow it to be true. I won't consider it. We're moving on from your statement now. Continue.
I also I'm just going to re-roll through heights and weights for a second. 6'7", 340, 6'2", 351, 6'1", 306, 6'5", 306, and 6'6", 311. This is a bigger line than last year.
Yeah.
Bigger doesn't mean better in this particular context, but
this is what I was saying before. Beef up front. Fitzgerald talked about this. Fitzgerald talked about the line is the place that you need to focus on. And we'll see if the strategy worked out in the long run. But some of these guys won big at lower levels and were provided meaningfully, played meaningfully at lower levels. And we'll see how they're going to do against the Big Ten. We're not... When we get into the actual season preview and talk about the games that we're going to win, we want to win, we want to lose, I don't think either of us expect to be all that competitive against Oregon later in the year.
Oregon might win a national championship. So yeah.
Sure. But what I do want to do is I want to win the winnable games. And what I do want to do is go to a bowl game. So these are the guys, hopefully, that will let you win the games that are kind of toss-up-y. College football, as we see, going back to the narrative of time and time again, college football is about capitalizing on your opponent's mistakes. And what was so frustrating about the last two coaching regimes is that we were making so many mistakes for other teams to capitalize on. Hopefully these guys, some of them playing meaningful, winning football in other areas, that continues on in winnable games for us against like your Nebraskas, maybe your Wisconsin's on the road, even though it's their homecoming game.
Yeah, Illinois's.
Yeah, Illinois's. There's pure group games that their guys are going to make mistakes. Our guys are going to make mistakes. Hopefully we're in a situation where our guys make fewer and you win. That is my hope for a offensive line room like this. I'm not expecting to go into South Bend and to have these guys pancaking defensive ends. I don't think that's going to happen, but I just want them to win when we have the opportunity to.
Sure. Let me ask you this. What do you think the over-under is on number of interceptions that Aiden Childs throws against Michigan State? It's kind of an interesting question because we've not previewed the secondary yet, but I don't know how much faith we have. And yet we have a lot of faith in Aiden Childs to overdo it.
I have a lot of data on Aiden Childs as a
and you know how emotional he'll be for that game.
Right. I would put it at 1.5. What would you take?
Ooh, I'm going to take the over.
Okay.
I'm taking the over on that.
You throw 2 interceptions on the road in the Big Ten, it's hard to win games. So I would love for you to be right about that. And it looks like chat is with me on my whole, like, let's just go win the winnable games.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that here. So it sounds like we have measured expectations for the season, fortunately, and hopefully these are the guys that do it. Should we talk about our guys that are going to be catching passes? Courtney Hawkins is in his
do you do
Or I guess it makes more sense to do running backs. If you're going to do quarterbacks, the line, then we do running backs. And that's where the big headline is, right? For this transfer class.
I mean, this room is loaded. Like to the point where it's like, did you need to pay one of the? Could you have repurposed some of this money?
Yeah. If you want to get something, listeners, if you want to be excited about one of these position groups, this might be the one. Continue.
Yeah. So I think it almost certainly is starting with Cam Edwards, another UConn transfer, redshirt senior, 5'11", 206. In 2025, he had 210 carries for 1,240 yards. That's a 5.9 yards per carry average.
Pretty good.
15 TDs plus 19 catches for another 187 yards. That's a preseason Maxwell Award watch list, top 25 FBS in 6 rushing categories last year, running back for Michigan State University. Now, some might say, and they're not wrong to point out, that UConn does not play the same schedule as an independent that Michigan State does. Either way, some of this doesn't lie.
Sure.
RB2 is where it gets interesting, and I don't think this is the kind of staff that's going to be riding. Like, I would love to be wrong about Cam Edwards and say we got another canine on our hands, but I don't think that's realistic. I think we're going to see meaningful snaps for where RB2 is. So we've got Jazz Patterson, redshirt senior out of Iowa, 858 career rushing yards over 4 seasons. Marvis Parrish, sophomore out of Western Kentucky, 576 yards for 5.4 yards per carry average, with 36 catches as a true freshman. He was a Conference USA all-freshman team. And Brandon Tullis,
who we know, finally, a name we know.
Leading returning rusher, 301 yards and 69 carries in 2025. Nice. And we haven't even mentioned Kenneth Williams, who is a Nebraska transfer, likely a punt return specialist, and Jace Clarizio and Zion Gist of last year's class. So Jace Clarizio, you'll remember we had and then lost Alabama and then got back again.
Yeah.
But didn't play a snap last year, supposedly for an injury. So, yeah.
All right, let's talk about the wide receivers. Courtney Hawkins, year 7, if you can believe it. Like, this is a guy that just like showed up, just keeps trucking, has put a ton of dudes in the NFL, and just exists. He just continues to go to work. He continues to exist, and now he's an elder statesman of coaching. It's wild.
I feel like, though, I saw an article on some player that I had forgotten who is now at Central or something like that. Transferred down to Hope and then transferred up to some directional school, and gave a shout out to Courtney Hawkins being the guy who taught him everything. As he looks, and I'm tired of I want to be on the record. I'm tired of pieces about people who have transferred out of Michigan State who are like, shout out, much love to Courtney Hawkins, who taught me more than anyone else has ever taught me, because that is the Courtney Hawkins story.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So this room is all new.
Depleted.
Everyone that you remember from last year, delete them from your brain. You don't need that anymore.
You got 2. You got 2.
That's true. You want to go down the list?
We got 1.5, actually, is a better way of saying it. So we have Christian McRae, big play McRae coming back. Redshirt senior.
I said earlier he wasn't. Good to know. He is.
Yeah, that's fine. Back. You can cut it later. 5'10", 180, Kent State transfer, 105 yards, 105 catches in his career.
Did he go in the transfer portal and then come back out of the transfer portal?
Who's to say? I don't care. Last year, only 24 catches for 330 yards, 3 TDs in 11 games with 6 starts. But we know we can blame Aiden Childs for a lot of that.
He did, by the way. He did enter the transfer portal and then withdraw.
that means he's a true Spartan, as Alex Plum would say.
Yep.
The two other starting spots are kind of an interesting battle. In the mix, we've got Charles Taplin, redshirt freshman, Frederick Moore, a redshirt junior Michigan transfer, KK Smith, redshirt junior Notre Dame transfer, and then we have Rodney Bullard, who's a Valdosta State transfer that played last year that
Yep.
had meaningfully good moments, but is a little bit up in the air as to whether he has eligibility remaining.
And they're like, the NCAA has not said a word on this. They're just like waiting every day to decide if this is if he's eligible to play or not.
Then in the next tier, though, I don't know that you can call this as next tier so much as it is people who have proven tape versus other people. We've got Samson Gash, true freshman, and was the number 1 ranked wide receiver in the 26th class for out of the state of Michigan, and was a highly rated 4-star recruit.
We got excited when he committed. That was we talked about it at the time.
Yep. We got Braylon Collier, who I know Matt Sheehan is big on Braylon Collier. Bryson Williams and Jameel Gardner Jr., the redshirt senior Jackson State transfer with 32 catches for 483 yards and 2 TDs last year. Look, I mean, I think beyond McCray, like, this is all a big fucking question.
Or anything is possible, right? It's all about mindsets, Mike Jones. You've had a loser mindset for a long time. It's where your misogyny comes from. We're about positivity now. We're about expanding horizons. We're about positive mindsets. In the wide receiver room under Courtney Hawkins, who teaches guys everything that they know, that's a spot to be as positive as possible, right? I think so.
Yeah, but you were talking about all the time you spend on the Red Pill subreddit, and
that's the understand their arguments so that I can better refute them in conversations and debates. That's why.
I don't know.
It's a know your enemy situation, right?
There was something about broads in the workplace that you kept,
and how they need our support and our appreciation. I'm an ally. I just do ally things all the time.
Is that how should I be? If I wanted to reform, should I also call them broads as much as you do?
It's an empowering term, is what I've been told. I've been assured.
I see. You do empowering. You like to use words that have been taken back by the community. There was another one you were using recently. What was it again?
I haven't ever used it, but I do have cards.
Interesting. All right. Next up, we have the tight end room with Brian Wozniak returning for his 3rd season. That's the famed former recruiting head for Michigan State football under Jonathan Smith, Brian Wozniak.
Yeah. It's kind of weird that Brian Wozniak made it through it all. Like, Courtney Hawkins, I get. The defensive staff, I get. It is kind of weird because Brian Wozniak is a guy that the previous staff brought with him. Interesting, but sure. Great.
I mean, I guess in fairness, Michael Masunas, who left us, is now at Texas. So he did do one thing right.
Got rid of Michael Masunas. Is that what you're saying?
Michael Masunas graduated from, and we need to start giving credit where credit's due, unfortunately, for people who leave us. As it relates to coaching, Courtney Hawkins just needs a good offensive line so that people stop saying Courtney was the best. But very thin on proven production. We've got Brendan Parachek, who maybe can stay healthy at some point in time in his life.
Is he like the 3rd most tenured player on the team at this point? We've been talking about
like you mean who's not left?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's redshirt junior, right? So this is his fourth year.
Yeah.
We've talked about we've said his name on this podcast approximately 50 times more than all broadcasts combined.
Sure.
That's where we're at right now with Brendan Parachek. So good to have you back. Always love to see my former math teacher's son in the lineup.
Algebra 2.
But yeah, let's get you involved, right? That would be nice.
For sure. That leads us to tight end 2, which is where things kind of get interesting, because I don't. It's likely that they're going to run some 2 tight end personnel.
Okay.
We've got Kai Rios, redshirt senior out of Indiana State.
The Sycamores.
9 games in his first MSU season last year with 1 catch. And then Jaden Savory, redshirt freshman who has been an early standout in fall camp, and I believe did have a touchdown last year, if I'm recalling correctly, or had some big play. I think Jaden Savory got hurt. And then, of course, I think the most intriguing player on the roster by a lot is Carson Gulker.
This is the Nick Sheridan gadget dude, right?
Well, this is your Connor Hayward.
Yeah.
6'3", 245, Ferris State transfer. That's national champion Ferris State.
Right.
He played quarterback and running back at Ferris State. He played tight end at Ferris State. D2 national championship. In 2025, he had 34 catches for 548 yards and 7 TDs. It was the team best in receiving, plus another 541 rushing yards. Like, I know he's coming from D2, but at 6'3", 245, like, that's I'm interested.
Yeah.
I mean, we've also got
Connor
Jay
Hayward
Coyne.
was fun when he was here. The original entering the transfer portal and removing his name guy. That happened at a time, listeners, you may not recall this. That kind of stuff didn't happen. Like 2 guys would go in the transfer portal per year. They were gone. You likely never heard of them again after that. But Connor Hayward put his name in the transfer portal, removed it, and contributed meaningfully afterwards. And that was a sign of things to come. We've also got French here in the chat from Polyfish. Appreciate you. Did a little Google Translate on that.
Yeah.
Coming in from Quebec, little Quebecois here for you, I think.
Do you know who this is?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So this is some Canadian.
Yes, very much so. Good to see you, Bob. All right. So you'll know, listeners, we're talking about offensive personnel, and we've talked about the individual position group coaches. We haven't talked about offensive coordinator, and that's because we're having positive mindset. This is a positive mindset. This is a positive mindset podcast with a positive mindset episode, and we're just going to move on. This is it. So let's talk about the entire unit, the offensive unit, the O-line, the wide receivers, the running back, the quarterback. How are you feeling as we going into this? How are you feeling overall about your 2026 MSU offense?
I would say I'm feeling 2 things. One is intrigued because there's enough there that I've not seen for me to say, it can't get worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, there's enough there that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
That I'm saying, please don't get hurt. But also, that wide receiver room seems to stink out loud.
Well, I mean, you got big play McCray. So what do you need after that?
I mean, and literally that was, I believe, where did he come from? Akron? That was their strategy. Oh, Kent State.
Okay.
That was, they were bad. They smell bad. They look bad. They were terrible. And the only bright spot was Krishan McCray. And we can't be that. So,
listen,
Listen. You listen.
Okay. So Pat Fitzgerald was explicit. You got to focus on the O-line room. He went, he rolled the dice on some guys that had a lot of success at lower levels. We're going to see how that translates to the Big Ten. We've talked about that already at length. The running back room looks good. We have, as we established, a proven niche Big Ten quarterback, which is more than other teams can say.
Sure.
In the scope of things, I do understand that this team and this unit is lacking perhaps a little bit of next level canine blue chip players.
That was a guy who split carries at Wake Forest, by the way.
Right. But Cam Edwards is coming in, a lot to be excited about. Quarterback is someone that took a job from someone else. That's worth being excited about. Hopefully he doesn't spend as much time on his butt as he did last year. That's something to be excited about. And as we established, he can actually distribute the ball. So even if there's not one or two guys that just light up opposing teams, it gives us opportunities to use gadget plays, use your tight ends, pick up yardage, and ultimately play winning-ish football. Winning-ish football is what we want right now. That is the goal for the first year. And we're getting a question here in the chat. How many wins for the Spartans football team this year? Tune in 4 weeks. We're going to actually get into the whole schedule. We're going to do it, piece by piece, unit by unit. But there's enough here that you can find yourself to being positive. Do you disagree?
Sure. No. I do. I am concerned. I am concerned about the wide receiver. Like I'm not going to be shy about that. I don't think there's a wide receiver above 6'1".
Well, there's definitely no one as tall as we had last year. But then also they weren't used, so it doesn't matter. I'm looking at the heights now. I think you are right. I'm not seeing anyone above 6'1".
But I think actually the tight end room is maybe not as good. This team's ability to produce anything is going to live and die on that offensive line. And I do look down it and I say to myself, if we don't get brutally hurt, maybe we can do something here.
Yeah. We're in floor raising mode, raising the floor.
By the way, like pound green pound, like if we can get it, I mean, if we can run the fucking ball, then it gets a lot easier for those short king wide receivers. So,
okay, we've been talking about the offensive unit for 40 minutes now. It's time to move on. Do you want to gloat? Do you want to get in your feelings about the basketball team? Like, how much time do we have to spend on this? How much of my nose are you going to rub in this?
None, other than just to say that, look, we sometimes give Plum a hard time about some of his takes, but I don't know that one was dumber than Greg believing that Thomas was.
I didn't say, I said it was a 40% chance. Okay. 40 is less than 50. Do you know
that's like asking, that's like the weatherman's rain prediction 10 days out.
Did you learn that in algebra 2 that 40 is less than 50%? Like 40 is still less likely to happen than to happen.
I don't know that I learned that in algebra 2 based upon the teacher I had, to be very clear.
So I think, and we agree, adding Jackson Kohler would have benefited the team.
No. We don't disagree on that.
Yes.
But it's not even that we didn't add him. It's that we didn't add him for the precise reason I said we would not add him. Correct. Which is to say that Tom said, oh, that wouldn't be fair.
Yeah. I got my guys. My guys are there.
And I know Couch has talked about this, that this is probably good for Jackson Kohler if he goes to another school. Get a different voice.
I don't care about that. Listen,
right. And I think that misses the point.
An incredible amount that I don't care about that. Here's what I care about. The Final Four is in Detroit. Here's what I care about. Our biggest rival just cut down the Nets. Here's what I care about. Tom Izzo is not immortal. I want to win, and this is a team that could win now, but it is not a team that is just a shoe-in for the Final Four. Adding Jackson Kohler would have moved us meaningfully in that direction.
Oh, no, it's not fair to Anton Bunk. Who cares? He's not a Spartan.
And who cares? He transferred in for a big amount of money. He's paid now. Who cares? This is how the real world works. I don't care. There's been some written on this. There's been a lot of social media chatter about like the payroll this year is way more than it was last year. They had to get Fears. They had to get Carr. They kept those guys. We should be happy about retention. And
blah, 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 blah.
But it means that these dudes are getting paid huge now. If it is true, if there's any element of truth to this. And guess what? Sometimes it sucks a little bit. I don't care. Now, should I be like, good for us, we're doing it the right way, Tom's doing it the right way?
No.
That train's out the station.
I don't feel better about this. This is one place where I would feel comfortable with saying we didn't break any rules. We weren't shady about it. We weren't shitty about it. Like,
right.
It's just a dude coming back. Like, and if Jackson Kohler didn't want to, by the way, if Jackson Kohler was like, nah, like, I think, I may be overseas for a number of years. I want to go back home closer to be my parent. Like, there are a variety of reasons which I would have accepted Jackson Kohler going somewhere else for him. But the idea that Tom Izzo is the one who's like, no.
And apparently that still might happen. There's speculation that there is wiggle room in all of this.
No, there's for sure. Someone's going to undo.
Yeah.
This is going to. Trey Holloman just entered the transfer portal, even though the portal's not open.
Right.
Like,
but the idea that, again, whenever we complain about Tom, it's always this. It's generally, it's roster management, it's usage of resources. And here we are again.
It's wanting to win. Tom's insistence on fighting with one arm behind his back.
Right.
Because it's not that I doubt Tom Izzo's desire to win, but it's his inability to operate within the confines of the rules. He insists
of playing of this fictional college basketball that doesn't exist and never, frankly, has. He plays by those rules, and he's going to get a lot of press. Like, oh, Tom Izzo, he's the only one still out there doing it the way that it's supposed to be done. By the way, it's not like it costs anyone. It would cost anyone a roster spot. By the way, it would not cost anyone their NIL money. By the way, it would. I understand that minutes are limited. There's only
so play the people
minutes.
Who are good at basketball.
Right. There's only 200 minutes to go around per game, but they're not playing for their scholarship anymore. They're not playing. They're professionals. Treat them like professionals. That's what the game is now. And I think we still have a chance, of course, of winning it all. I think we still have a chance of going to Detroit. But when we wash out in the Sweet 16 because of a bad matchup down low,
I hope that Jay Billis says I could have had Jackson Kohler. Because there's a degree to which that I want some smug, smarmy bastard, and I think Jay Billis sucks. But like, someone needs to say, could have treated this the right way.
Yeah. Are you surprised at all by how well the fan base has taken this? I am an outlier in this, by the way, with my wailing and gnashing of teeth that I'm doing over here. The fan base overall is not surprised by it. They're in your camp. I'm not surprised by it, for the record, but there's an expectation and a like, Tom's got his guys, and it's a good roster this year. And Tom's really happy with his guys.
Well, I do think there's that, right? Like there is we've been in positions before where Tom hasn't done things and it's like, bro, you have a barely make it in roster. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing right now? This is not that roster. But
yeah, when we get into the basketball season preview, we're going to have a conversation of like, hey, minutes are going to be hard to come by. This is going to be in some ways the deepest MSU roster that we've seen. We'll have that discussion at the time. And adding Jackson Kohler would take 25 minutes from that equation.
But at the same time, this team, depending on how people develop, could benefit from some spacing.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine Cohen Carr, Cam Ward, and I guess I know Bonk can technically shoot three, but like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Let's get out of this energy. Like, okay. This sucks. This is something we're going to talk about the rest of the year. There is a new chat that just came in. Can you read it verbatim, please?
Okay. Not important to the show, but my daughter won grand champion at the Livingston County Fair. The banner and ribbon sponsored by the one and only Mugs and Bops.
That's right.
This is
Mug and Bops, baby.
Ethan MI or ML33. Can you clarify what your daughter won? Because it seems like you
Not
entered
important.
her like livestock, and I need clarity.
Like she's a show animal. Oh,
is she
I love
Wilbur?
This,
like, what's going on?
I'm so glad that Mug and Bops is out there in the community.
And I love that Ethan knows that our love of Mugs and Bops knows no ends. It is the one true restaurant you should be going to. And yes, it is a culinary experience.
Yes. You can also get gas there, but primarily sustain yourself. Should we
with Subway and Baskin Robbins?
If rumors are to be believed, sometime this week, after this is released and people will be listening to this episode, there will be a certain announcement. We have no insider information on this rumor. We're just perpetuating in trafficking in the rumor. Do you want to talk about the still current Western Michigan University athletic director?
I would. I have a contact that is driving the piss out of me. I'm going to touch my eyeball, and I don't want to do that on camera. Do you want to take over for 2 seconds for me, sir?
You go do your disgusting, imperfect vision, just awfulness, and I'll take care of this. So,
all right.
If you're not on the socials, it has become sort of accepted that Dan Bartholomew from Western Michigan University will become the next athletic director at MSU. This is a name that was thrown around when the Jay Batt hire happened, and now we're back again. Background is he was hired at Western Michigan in 2022, so he's been there for 4 years and 4 very eventful years. Before that, he was in a like an associate athletic director role at Oregon State, and then stuff before that as well. The important stuff, though, for an athletic director, one, of course, he's got Midwest ties and is at Western. He also made early in his tenure at Western a very good football hire. If you weren't paying attention, Western Michigan just won the MAC championship. Everyone kind of thought Toledo was going to win it and kind of run away with it. That is not what happened. Western won. And that was a hire, Lance Taylor, that Dan made, then Louisville offensive coordinator. He also, and I do think that this is important, signed an extension with Lance Taylor. And you think Western is a place, the MAC, I should say, is a place where coaches that win championships get poached. But he got him signed on with a, through 2031 or something like that, and got a buyout. So in terms of hires and retention on the football field, off to a pretty good start, I would say.
But tell me
Jonesy.
more about his performance management skills.
I don't know
How does he
references
underperformers?
Okay, so I think we're talking now about Dwayne Stevens. So unfortunately, Spartan legend Dwayne Stevens was the basketball coach for a period at Western. Did choose to part with Dwayne and hired Khalil Fennell from UT Rio Grande, who I will be honest, I don't know a whole lot about this guy.
I didn't know that was a school,
but he does seem to be on an upward trajectory. It does seem like a solid hire. We'll see where it goes from here. I would be inclined to talk about hockey hiring at this point because, of course, Pat Freshweiler over there won the national championship. He's been doing a spectacular job. Dan did not hire Pat. Pat was hired before Dan was hired. However, he's obviously being given the resources that he needs. He was able to win the national championship. And if you're not paying attention, Kalamazoo is on the verge of opening a $500 million arena.
How much was he responsible for that capital campaign, though?
Well, so here's the thing that you need to know about that. This was announced as sort of a like Kalamazoo thing several years ago, but
Sure.
that was with a budget of like $200 million. And now it is ballooned out. So let's talk about the fundraising. Western Michigan Athletics has just announced their largest year in fundraising history. And of course, like due to inflation, you would think that every year would be the largest year. In fact, it broke the previous year's record. But there are like details about this that get into Dan is really driving all of this. Worth noting, since he was hired in 2022, Western Michigan athletic fundraising has increased 473%. That is way outpacing inflation. And critically, I do think this is important. It's among 3,800 unique donors. So it's not just that it's one person. Wait, and we'll get into
3,000, 3,800, yeah.
Yes. It's not just one person, one big ticket that he's going and collecting. In fact, and I'm pulling this directly out of their press release, the number of Mike Gary level donors, Western Michigan's highest society of donors level, has increased from 1 in total when he was hired at 2022, so one person at that level, to 103 in 2026. So he's creating kind of a groundswell of momentum in addition to doing a great job with mega donors. So the new hockey stadium is largely being driven, if you're not familiar with Kalamazoo, by Bill Johnson. Bill Johnson's kind of the face of it, the sort of like non-WMU Johnston, face of it. He's married to someone by the name of Rhonda Stryker, who is heiress to the Stryker fortune. So Rhonda Stryker has always been sort of known that she's funding the Kalamazoo Promise. They put a lot of money into Western Michigan athletics. I think they put a lot of money into them opening that the medical school that they're doing as well. So he's clearly doing a good job of building the donor base. That's why I read off the part about the Mike Gary level donors increasing from 1 when he was hired to 103 this year. But then also obviously doing a good job maintaining relationships with the mega donors. And that is going to be very, very important if he is indeed hired at MSU, because we have a mega donor who just made a mega donation, but you want to keep Greg Williams in the fold, especially when Matt Ishbia's stock has declined something like 80% in the last year. So, like, in terms of getting people involved and making sure that you have, in sales, you got that funnel operating. This is all, I would say, Jonesy, very encouraging. If indeed the rumors are true and Dan Bartholomew is going to be named as the next MSU AD. Your thoughts on this?
I do. I think there's something to there's the right kind of doing more with less. And so I look at why is his name escaping me? Who's the assistant coach that Plum is insistent will be the next basketball coach?
I don't know who you're referring to.
He was hired. It is John Borovich.
Oh, Borovich. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Okay.
Borovich came to us from Northwestern. He was in charge of recruiting there and came to MSU to be in charge of recruiting. And there was this idea of doing more with less. And I think there's the right version of that. Jonathan Smith was probably the wrong version of that, because we're looking now at moves that have been made by an athletic director. And in fairness, our dear friend Bartholomew Bat clearly was a dipshit based upon the MSU-FCU patch deal that he signed. Or if he didn't ink it, he was instrumental in it. Yes, I think the idea that we've been over-indexing on truly a couple donors.
I mean, it gets to
we know Jonathan Smith was pushed out or never received the support he was maybe assured.
Yeah,
in large part because of those donors.
I mean, except for the short period of time when I was allowed to contribute to the For Sparta NIL, it wasn't clear where we as a fan base were meant to contribute, or how, or in what capacity. Like, it was, I know that some very well respected people in East Lansing were winning awards for managing NIL. But if those awards were legitimately won, it was just because they had 3 or 4 guys that they were managing it.
Or they were just teaching NIL particularly well.
Or that. This whole highest level donor increasing that population from 1 to 103, I think that is something that would get missed a lot of the time, but is critically important. The most important thing probably is managing the mega donors, because billionaires shouldn't exist. They have too much economic power. It's stupid, and they can just do whatever they want. And you want to put yourself in a position where that whatever they want happens to benefit you. Real people have to make actual tangible decisions with their money, and convincing them that they want to part with it to benefit MSU athletics is very important and impressive, and not something that we've been particularly good at. And I do kind of wonder, we haven't heard anything about the football stadium and the capital campaign for that in a while.
Yeah. We do have that $400 some million, but it sounds like our dear friend Dan is going to soon be Michigan State's next athletic director. And I believe, perhaps, as I said, after Jay Bat left, that anyone who claims to know anything about this sounds good. This all sounds good. And so I hope he's great. But you brought up Matt Ishbia, and I want to pivot off Grand River and talk about Matt Ishbia.
Okay.
Because I forget what press outlet it was, but it's some sports business something or other that clocked Matt Ishbia's current worth at $5.8 billion, down, I believe, from $11 billion.
Well, yeah, United Wholesale Mortgage stock is down, as I said, 80%. So
is nearly is nearly a penny stock at this point in time. But more to the point, worth $5.8 billion, and they clocked the value of the Phoenix Suns at $5.1 billion.
Yeah, but he's not the only shareholder of the Suns. He might have like half. He has a controlling share of the Phoenix Suns.
But I think the thing is that I started thinking about this for a little while, and I thought to myself, LOL, what a doofus. And then I thought, that's $700 million. What's the annual rate of return on the S&P 500?
Yeah, he's doing all right. You don't have to worry about him.
He could give money every year to Michigan State athletics and be his children's would be fine.
That's what I'm saying with the mega donors are probably still the most important thing.
Yeah.
That's just the truth of what being a billionaire means.
Yes. But so anyway, Matt Ishbia is now poor.
Sure. Speaking of NIL, could we talk about the election and rumors about Allison's interest in continuing to support U of M? Let's not. We're already at an hour and 6 minutes. We don't need to talk about that.
I was going to say, we should talk about the ruling on the CSC, though.
Okay, do that quickly, and then let's get to
that's very Spartan questions. Ventures relevant. So, folks may recall from prior episodes that Nebraska, in particular, had sought a case, or their athletes had, where the College Sports Commission, or whatever the fuck it's called, had denied their NIL deals through Playfly, which was a multimedia rights something or other, which is how schools are funneling money to student athletes for nothing.
Yeah. Not real NIL. It's like fake NIL. It's not name, image, and likeness because no one actually cares about these guys. We're just paying to play. Continue.
Right. This is a corporate version of collectives, and the House settlement had named associated entities, which were in particular targeted towards boosters and collectives, as a thing that was no longer allowed to give money. And so schools spun up these deals with MMRs, Playfly being one of them. And the Nebraska went to court, and the magistrate said, nope, this is not real. And then they took it to the judge who actually approved the House settlement, and he said, nope. And so this is maybe the first case that the NCAA won. And is a
there you go, guys. Oh my gosh.
Real blow to what Spartan Ventures is attempting to be. So just parking that for a little bit. Now, this is one settlement and one judge, but who's to say? I think the other thing, Kevin, worth mentioning is that Pat Fitzmagic had talked at Big Ten Media Days about saying that the travel roster limit was stupid. And in particular, in light of the 5-5.
Because there's just more bodies that they have available now.
Right. So, like, why do I have to choose who might be able to play a game because I'm traveling, right? And also, in fairness to Pat, there's more fucking money in this shit than there's ever been before, right? Like, there's no reason to limit the travel roster. What are we're depriving 5 hotel rooms?
Yes. Well, in 4 in this case, I believe, moving it up to 80.
Yes. So we've moved from 75 to 80 people now.
5
can travel with the team, which I believe is the exact number that Pat had asked for. So it's worth noting.
From Pat's lips to the NCAA's ears, there we go.
I do think there's a world in which he might actually be mildly influential on some of these committees. So,
well, there we go. That's our guy. Let's go to social media questions. First up, from the Mike Jones to a lesser Mike Jones. Let's be real. Why is August the most boring month of the year? It's summertime. It's supposed to be nice. I'm rooting too much for September.
Dog days?
It is sort of like everyone's excited for summer. You get all your stuff, you get exhausted, and then you're like, okay, let's take August off. It's just too much is happening. Ugh.
I don't know.
And then
But
next thing you know, it's fall.
I don't know that I'm a big don't wish time away person.
You're just so present all the time with us, with our listeners, with your family. You're just a present guy.
Yeah.
What a present dude. Next up from Jason Fry. I'm going to give this to you. Most angry moment as an MSU fan. Plum. John Goss 1 for 3 on field goal attempts versus U of M in 2005. Yes, he was apoplectic when that happened. Jones, anytime a women's sport team had great success. And Grooch, when the cafeteria refused to honor his request for Matrix Goop as a meal plan option. It is baloney. I have found, though, that you can take Special K and milk and get yourself most of the way there. And then you just put it in the Special K tube, and then you can open it up and stream it right down your gullet. So it's as close to the Matrix Goop as I have found to date, but I have been kicked out of a lot of residence halls for doing this. Next up from Jay Holding.
But the answer, by the way, is Plum John Goss.
Dude, I think if you had given Plum John Goss in a room and you said, you can kill him and no one will ever know and it will never get tied back to you, he would clarify all of the details around that. And then I think he would have killed John Goss.
I mean, he went through deeply, deeply sadistic scenarios where John Goss was publicly humiliated in classes because of that performance.
Yes. Next up from Jay Holy, you can only drink one alcoholic beverage for the rest of your life. What are you choosing?
Beer.
Yeah, it's obviously beer. It's not going to be anything but beer. I like some scotch and I like some cocktails. I like some other drinks. You know, tequila is fun. But the answer is beer, obviously. Yeah. Finally, from Jay Holy, if you had to choose a new color scheme for MSU, what would you pick? I think this is a great summertime question. First off, I want to say very happy with green and white. And the media days are a good reminder of that. When you see all of the uniforms lined up next to each other, it's so easy to pick out MSU and just be like, boom, there we are. Whereas if you were just one of the reds and creams or whatever, you'd be like, which one of these is us? I really don't know.
I wonder if I'd go bronze, though.
Bronze,
like sort of like
bronze and green?
Or black with the green accent. Maybe green's the alt as a tribute to sort of the land grant component of it. But I'm just trying to think of.
This sounds very Notre Dame of you right now. Green is the alt.
How would you lean into Spartan, right? Like, because that's what you're doing at that point in time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think probably bronze is where I'm going.
Okay. Are there any bronze teams?
I feel like for some reason UCF is or something.
Yeah, I think they're black and bronze. That's
black and gold. Yeah, they're
gold. I am very pleased with the green and white. And as I said,
obviously, yes.
Yeah. These types of like whole Big Ten events are always a good reminder of that. Next up from Anne Marie, what are you looking forward most to this football season?
I mean, at the risk of being wildly disappointed, it's a good offensive line.
Yeah.
Because if I can't look forward to that, then I'm looking forward to losing. And so I look forward to a good offensive line. Do you have anything?
I'm looking forward to less mistake-prone football. That's what I want. That is my goal for this year.
Did you hear Pat Fitzgerald's thing about yelling at the players about not putting stuff in the trash?
Yes, this sounds very like. Remember how much dads loved Pat Fitzgerald as a hire? Dads would love this kind of narrative. Yeah, I don't know if you guys get towels. I'm not so sure about this.
Well, that was a Mel Tucker thing. You had to ask for. There's a difference between I don't know if you get a towel or not versus no. Pick up your shit.
Yeah. Yep. We didn't talk about the Spartan. We didn't talk about the number one in all of this.
I know we didn't, and we won't. Next up is Mamapaleaf. Please vote and decide on which one of you will wear the number one. Which one of you cares about the program more than himself and gives yourself to the greater good? Well,
who does all the editing and the work after the fact? The work that no one really appreciates. It's interesting. It's an interesting thought. Yeah. It's Plum. Plum gets the number one.
Oh, obviously. See, I thought about program as just Michigan State.
No, the program is can't read, can't write, and number one goes to Plum. Next from the Leaf, will you purchase the 45 by 183 by 1 for $125 or the 10 by 10 by 1 for $20? And where will you put your piece of MSU football practice field green turf from the MSU surplus store?
I mean, is it a turf type fescue or is it Kentucky bluegrass? Because if it's KBG, that thing will sow my lawn. And I'll be buying the 45 by 138 inch by 1 inch. Also, the 1 inch feels superfluous if it's all 1 inch.
Right. 10 by 10 by 1?
But the practice field is Astro, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
So we got to stop that. This is what the injuries are coming from. We need to stop that. Yeah. We should be blaming MSU. We should be looking inward.
Here.
Next up is Mr. Neurotic Pants. Greg, this is for you. What are those poofy things women keep in the shower? I figured you would be, as the ally, spot on this one.
Yeah. As an ally, let me just tell you that those are unknown entities, known only to them. And we should let them have, a real proper ally would let them keep their secrets. And that's what we'll do. You shouldn't touch it. You shouldn't look at it. You shouldn't try to find it at the store. Just know that it is some kind of dark magic and never speak of it. That's my plan for you, Mr. Neurotic Pants. Next, can you please angrily respond to the voices in my head that tell me attending my one football game a year is too much of an extravagance?
I can't and I won't. I tend to believe that if there are voices in your head saying that, then there are probably also voices saying, do it.
Do it. Yeah, we'll be the devil on your shoulder.
I have to choose a voice, and if it gives you joy and happiness, then you should do it. Next up from the Upper Deck Jerk Guy, is there any way we could use quantum tunneling to help the Spartans' run game?
I mean, what is FRIB for, if not to break the space-time continuum to benefit the football team? I mean, what is the Department of Energy putting all that money into that facility for if it's not going to benefit the MSU football squad? So I think quantum tunneling is probably the least that we could expect from that. Like, I would like a black hole that opposing teams get sucked into. Whatever it takes, I'm down.
One team in particular.
Yeah.
Maybe their stadium also.
Yeah, all of Ann Arbor. Maybe would be too bad. Next up from the Upper Deck Jerk Guy, how hard would it be to set up an AI to capture all available video and do automatic play diagramming in football and basketball? I'll send this one to you, AI guy.
I don't know that that's how AI works.
And even if it did, you would get the most milquetoast version of it. You would just get the sanded off 70th percentile version.
Well, and I mean, I also like, you could just wear things and you do indexing and stuff. Like, you don't need AI to do that. But to Greg's point, Greg, if I can be really, really clear here.
beautiful. Maybe that is what Jonathan Smith did last year. Next up from the Upper Deck Jerk Guy, what's on the menu for Friday opening night tailgate against Toledo, wherever you'll be? Jonesy, floor is yours.
I'm inclined to actually do some chicken wings.
Oh,
yeah. How about you?
Over there. We'll see. Dogs in the grill.
Ooh,
some
brats.
Go to the Brody calf. Goop up the Matrix.
That's why you keep getting you just pouring milk into the Kellogg machine, and this is why they do this to you.
Yep.
Do you put any whey protein in there just to like make it more? No.
That speaking of extravagance, come on. Finally, from Thomas Zambiasi, I think I asked this last year too, but what narrative are you pushing this football season?
Honestly, Thomas, I think this is the place that I am from a podcasting perspective. I am so broken, I have no narratives to push.
Yeah.
I can't give more. I need them to meet me halfway. Give me something. Do you have anything, Greg?
Just what I've said. Just fewer mistakes than the other team, raising the floor.
No, but is that a narrative you're pushing, or do you just hope for that? Those are different things.
The narrative that I'm pushing is that the offensive line is going to be the best offensive line we've seen in years.
Since K9?
Sure. We'll say that.
Okay.
Never mind the fact that he masked massive issues with that offensive line. What were his stats of yardage after first touch?
If we could just
unbelievable.
Get to that. If we could get to that level of talent, it would be a plus.
Be thrilled. Next up from Thomas, I know everything's been getting more expensive and relatively cheap baseball tickets are spoiling my perspective. But at what point are you going to be priced out of going to college football games? Outside of some big MSU games, I have a hard time justifying anything more than $50 to $60. And even then, not happy about those prices.
I mean,
I think the justifying is because the product has been so poor. I mean, if they produced a better product, you could easily justify more than that. And I think face value for any ticket in the stadium is more than this.
I mean, but I guess I would just add that, Thomas, like, I'm probably priced out of college football games other than if I went to the Upper Deck. If I went to every college football game, that therein lies the problem, right? Is that I'm doing one, and so I'm part of the problem for jacking up prices.
Yeah,
because it's my indulgence, right? It's a special trip. But point well made. Like, I don't disagree with your point. And I think college football would do well to have more people who are showing up regularly, but also weirdly prices. This has got to be a consequence of a lot of season ticket holders just not going, right?
Yeah, and choosing to do the secondary market. The other thing about price of these games is not just the actual what comes out of your pocket, it's the time. Like football Saturdays, especially now with TV and timeouts and all that stuff, your whole day is committed to this. Yeah. If you're coming from out of town, especially. So it is a massive commitment. They're doing everything that they can to scrape more money out of it before the whole thing implodes. And we'll be here to ride the bomb in, just like Dr. Strangelove, basically. And finally, from Thomas, bonus if you have time, if we kept him around long enough, would Jay Batt have introduced NF Tuck 2.0?
Greg, this feels like as a person who I believe was in the Discord and was explaining the pictures that were exchanged. Tell me more about your desire for NF Tuck 2.
You wouldn't get it. I can't explain it to you.
I believe there was a large conversations about how to treat women over FaceTime calls.
I think Jay Batt would have done anything to get naming rights for the stadium. And if that included what was the old term for it? No one does this anymore, but an initial coin offering or whatever.
Oh, yeah. And
he would
ICO,
have
yeah.
happily done it. So thank you, Thomas, for your questions. I think Ali, if you had any, Jonesy missed those.
Did he?
Anything before we depart, Mr. Jones?
I'm just gonna double check to make sure nothing from Ali. All right. No. I think the important thing is that football's in the air. Go green.
Go white.